Hi Charlie Bean. Hi Baby Bird. Today I have a story for you called George and His Giant Shadow. And the words and pictures were by Severn. George was different from all the other mice. He had a giant shadow. No matter where George went, his giant shadow would cause trouble. See his shadow? When the mice played hide and seek, George was much too easy to find. Can you find him? When George went with the other mice to the beach, his giant shadow made them shiver. George tried everything to get rid of it. He tried hiding it in a teacup, but that didn't work. He tried wearing a disguise, but that didn't work. He tried losing weight, but that didn't work either. No matter what George did, his giant shadow just wouldn't go away. One day, the mice planned an expedition to the pantry. They mapped out every detail. They would travel to the kitchen and load up their knapsacks with their favorite foods: sunflower seeds, peanuts, oatmeal, and raisins. See, they're making their plan. All the mice were going, except George. "Sorry, George," the others said. "You can't come. You and your giant shadow will just be in the way." Poor George. George felt very sad. He went to his room to think about his troubles. He wondered if he and his giant shadow would ever have any friends. Slowly the day turned to twilight, and the twilight to night. It got darker and darker and darker until it was so dark that George couldn't even see his giant shadow. It was very dark. He put on his knapsack and hurried off to tell the others. Meanwhile, on the other side of the house, the mice were making their way toward the pantry. They climbed over the couch. They chopped their way through the jungle of potted plants. They tunneled beneath the rug. You see them? Until at last they came to the kitchen. Uh-oh. It was there George found his friends. They were too busy to notice George, and they were too busy to notice the danger lurking in the dark. George realized something terrible was about to happen. He shivered with fear, but George knew he had to save the other mice. Can you see what's coming? Look, there's George. He knows he has to do something. The danger crept closer and closer and closer. No. Suddenly, George remembered that he had come to tell the other mice what he had come to tell the other mice, and that gave him an idea. Quickly, he swung into action. He climbed up the chair, grabbed the light chain, and pulled with all his strength. He pulled. As George dropped to the floor, his giant shadow flew across the room, dark and scary. The cat screeched and bounded away. That is one giant mouse, and that's one terrified cat. The mice cheered for George and his giant shadow. "You saved us, George," they cried. "You're a hero." Then the mice had a party to honor George. Everyone had lots of fun. And from that day on, George, his giant shadow, and all the mice were best of friends. The end. That's George and his giant shadow. I hope you liked it. I love you. Bye. See you next time.